Every full-size truck has been updated or redesigned recently except the Toyota Tundra. There have been some small changes lately that I will go over in the video, but we haven't seen any major overhaul changes since 2007 or refresh since 2014. With that being said, we have the 2018 Toyota Tundra Limited 4x4 Crewmax model today, and we're going to take a look at everything, the exterior, the interior, all the features, and go for a test drive and see if this thing is still relevant. How's it going, Everyman Driver Nation? I'm Nolan.Merrill with the Prime Autotainment YouTube channel. Let's take a look at this thing and get started. Thank you everybody so much for tuning in for this limited Tundra review. Now, if you're interested in the SR5 model, I do have a video on that, so I will only cover the limited and up. So with this limited trim, we do get this chrome grille with the chrome bumpers on the front there, and with the platinum model, you will get a black grille with body colored bumpers. And with all of those, you'll get LED daytime running lights, and you can see those wrapping around the headlights there. These are also LED headlights and LED fog lights. And the headlights can actually move up and down with a switch on the inside, and they do a really good job of lighting up the road ahead. On the hood of the Tundra, we've got the scoop for styling right here. This hood, I've noticed from driving it, it's not quite as broad as the GM hood that I was behind recently, but still I do like the styling that Tundra gives you here. It's still a pretty beefy look. And with the TRD Off-Road package that we have, we do get our towing hooks down below, plus an engine skid plate. And this gray color that we have here is actually the concrete color, and it's quite unique. It's not like this shiny. It's not a shiny color like their silvers. It looks pretty cool though. It's definitely interesting, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Now, typically on the limited trim, you will get 20-inch wheels, but since we have the TRD Off-Road package, we get these 18-inch wheels with the black accents, and then we have the Michelin All-Terrain sitting on top of those. So another option that we have on this is the towing mirrors, and they do extend and fold manually. Typically, you will get power folding mirrors on the Platinum and the 1794, and they do have the reverse tilt function as well. An interesting fact about the Tundra is that it actually has the largest front brakes, and both front and rear brakes are ventilated. We'll go over how well this thing slows down in the video. And as you can see, that cab is just massive. This is a Crewmax model. There's no single cab available, but you can get a double cab with regular opening doors and a standard bed length. But we have the short bed length right here. That does make this the second shortest full-size truck, right behind the Titan. We do get a limited slip differential in the back, and with our TRD Off-Road package, we also get the trail-tuned Bilstein shocks. And we'll try to get this on some dirt. As you can see, the tires are a little muddy. It's very gummy out here today. We got some rain, and I tried going out a little bit and it just caked my tires. But we'll see what we can do. The Tundra does give us 10.4 inches of ground clearance, up to 10.6 and a minimum of 10, which is awesome if you plan on taking this thing off-road. And our approach and departure angles are 26 approach and 16 departure. And one more thing, Toyota has added their Toyota Safety Sense, the TSSP, which will give us pre-collision with pedestrian detection, lane departure alert with sway warning, auto high beams, and their radar cruise control. Moving to the bed of the Tundra, it does give us an easy lift and lower tailgate, and it is lockable. You can't lock it with the key fob, but you can lock it with the key. And like I said, we do have the short box, which is a 5.5 foot box, which is a little small for, you know, what most crew cabs will offer. However, if you do move to the double cab standard bed, you'll get a 6.5 foot box, and then the double cab long bed will give you an 8.1 foot box. So dimensions in the box, in between the wheel wells, you will get 50 inches, and the height or the depth of this box is 22.2 inches. And as you can see, we do have the optional deck rail system, which gives us 4 movable cargo tie downs on both sides, which can definitely come in handy. Plus we have the basic bolted in bed tie downs on all 4 corners. And then talking about payload, the max payload in any Tundra is 1,730 pounds, but as equipped right here with the crew cab 4x4 model, we can get 1,520 pounds. So hopping up into this Tundra is pretty tall because, like I said, you got about 10.5 inches of ground clearance, and this truck is definitely up in the air. There's no grab handle up here, so it is a pretty good step up. You know, for people that might need that, that would be nice to see. There is a grab handle on the passenger side, however. But once you get into this limited trim, we do get leather seats. These are 10-way power adjustable. That includes lumbar support. They are also heated. Once you get up to the Platinum model, you will get premium leather, plus the 1794 model. You'll get premium leather with heated and ventilated seats, plus they will also be memory seats. No matter what trim level you're at, the passengers will have 6-way power, which includes lumbar support, but there's no up and down functionality. And my wife was complaining that those seats sit up a little too high for her relative to the rest of the cab. So something to consider. Overall, these seats are pretty comfortable. They're not quite as plush as I would have expected for leather. They're not as plush as the GM seats that I was just recently in. But once you're in here, you do have kind of an upright, commanding presence. You feel like you sit a little bit higher in here, and of course the vehicle is a higher vehicle. The steering wheel is leather wrapped. It does feel nice. On the Platinum trim in the 1794, you will get power, tilt, and telescoping options, but otherwise we have just the manual adjustability, and it's a fair amount of range. Not hard to get comfortable. There's not really anything by your right knee. The console is low enough to not get in the way, and I have plenty of space. I'm 5'9", so I don't have any issues in here at all. Pretty big, spacious cab. Now that we've hopped inside of the Tundra, let's do a real quick tour of the inside. So this is a nice soft surface up above. This is kind of like you've seen some other Toyotas. It's almost like rubbery feeling, but it does have some padding to it. Only auto powered down for the driver's window, and this is actually just kind of cheap feeling. I'd like to see a real aluminum, or at least aluminum covered handle, but here's our storage in the doors. It's actually pretty long. I just wish that we had a bigger bottle holder. There's 2 small bottle holders and then little space on both sides there. Let's go ahead and shut the door. And the door is pretty heavy. It feels pretty solid. Now with Toyota, we do get the traditional key fob, no smart key system. Go ahead and start it up. So as we look right here, we do have a leather wrapped steering wheel that does feel nice. It's very large and thick, and it feels great to hold on to, especially right here on these sport grips, and you can even feel that stitching going on the inside as well. Steering wheel controls are standard. We have radio and voice controls, phone controls over here, and you can hold that down for a few seconds and it will mute the radio. Then we have our information display right here, things you can scroll through, plus our radar cruise and lane departure alert settings there. Typical Toyota cruise control stock down below, and we do have the radar cruise that you can adjust with that button there. Take a quick look over here at the controls. We do have our mirror controls, light controls for the bed, as well as opening the door, automatic high beam button right here. This is the light that you can scroll through to move the headlights up or down. That is now down, and you can move them back up, which is a pretty neat function and can come in handy depending on what situation you are in. And then next to it, our power folding rear glass, one of my favorite features. That whole window can fold down, and that's actually pretty nice. I prefer that over just a small sliding window, and it's definitely a feature that I enjoy. Now taking a look at Toyota's gauge cluster here, we've got typical analog gauges on the side, and then our information display in the middle. And over my time, well, you can customize what you see here. You can basically change what kind of information is displayed to you. And I have done a mix of city and highway, and that's my average so far. I'll give you a combined average later when I'm done testing. But you can just change what you see here. You can go through your navigation here if it's available. Our audio, and of course basically our safety features. So if you're on cruise or your lane departure system's going off, you can watch that here. Any messages, and then customizing every setting from there on out. Now as we go over, this dash is hard, and I know a lot of people dislike that and complain about that, as well as numerous hard plastics here. Everything is, definitely not as modern and updated as some other vehicles, but it should be durable. So this is a textured mat. You can put something there and it won't slide around. And as we move down from here, we do have a 7-inch, it's the Entune Premium system. This is not the most advanced because we don't have the JBL, but we do have a 9-speaker system, which actually sounds pretty good for not being the premium system in here. The JBL will be a 12 speaker system. I do enjoy how we do have some real buttons here that you can push, and they're pretty big. This touchscreen is definitely not the most responsive. You know, it's definitely dated. It's been around for quite a while. I'm excited to see what Toyota will offer in the future in the Tundra. There's no Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, but you can still do quite a bit on there. And of course you have Bluetooth, you have a CD player even, so you've got what you need. Then as we go down, we do have our dual zone climate control, and I do like these knobs. These are some nice large knobs. Everything is easy to use where you need it. Heated seat controls right there, and we are missing the ventilated seat controls and the memory settings on the door that you'll get in the Platinum trim. Now right over here we do have our traction control button, tow haul mode button, as well as our trailer brake controller right here, which also is part of our trailer sway control. Right next to the dual zone climate control, you'll find your 4-wheel drive controls for your 2-wheel drive, 4 high and 4 low. Below all of that, as I said, this is a hard touch right here, but it's at least kind of got these lines to maybe help prevent something from sliding around. And then down below we do have a 12-volt power outlet right there, plus one USB and one auxiliary output, and then another 12-volt outlet right there. I'd like to see another USB port up here, but that's all you get. And then just next to that we do have a little storage compartment over here, so that's handy. A small cup holder right here for something kind of shallow, and then 2 cup holders out in the open right there that do accommodate my large bottle, and another little storage nook right here. Everything's pretty small. If it was textured or kind of more wide open, I would enjoy that. Another little storage cubby is right next to the passenger, right down there. You can fit a few items in here. It's a little bit deeper than it looks. Then we have our gated shifter here. The SR5 model will give you the column shifter, but you get the gated one here. You can shift it over to S to downshift or upshift. You can kind of use that for your engine braking. As I go into reverse, a standard backup camera, not the highest pixel backup camera, and it's not adjustable, but as you can see, you can still see where the hitch would go, so you can line yourself up right there. Moving back to this armrest, this is a massive armrest. It is big and soft. I've had my iPhone Plus sitting in here and it doesn't move around, even though this is not necessarily rubberized. It does have these slots to keep something in place, plus your limited trim stamp right there. Open this up and you get a pretty big space in here. It's really massive, plus a 12-volt power outlet. I'd like to see maybe another USB port in here, or maybe an actual plug-in in this vehicle, or some dividable cargo, but plenty of space inside of there. Then as we go over to the glove box, this is also plasticky, but we do have this trim piece right up here. Then as we open it, it is lockable, which is good, and it is soft opening, and it's kind of a multi-tiered system. You got all your Toyota materials up here, and then anything you need below that, plus some space on the side. As we go up above, we do have the auto-dimming rearview mirror standard, plus your garage HomeLink system and the compass up there on the corner. These are sliding visors. The whole visor will slide in and out. They are pretty large. Do have the vanity mirror with the light. And then up above, obviously you can store something right there. We have a sunglass holder, which is actually kind of tight for some sunglasses, depending on what size you have. No LED lighting in here, which would be nice to see on these higher trims, but we do have the optional moonroof, the tilt and the slide function for that right there. We don't have blind spot monitoring or rear cross traffic alert in here, but it is available and it is standard on the other trims. But like I said, we do have the towing mirrors over there. And they do give you a pretty good amount of vision, and you can customize those, fold them in and slide them out. And on top of all of that, you will also get the front and rear parking sonar on the other trims, the higher trims, and that is optional. Now here's what the 1794 trim model will look like. As you can see, you'll get some premium brown leather, wood trim pieces, and definitely a very nice looking interior. All right, so we're in the back seat of the Crew Max, and the good news is you do actually get a grab handle to hang on to if you're gonna climb up in here. And once you are in here, there is so much space. Like, I can pretty much just about straighten my legs. And like I said, I'm 5'9". Not even an issue of knee space, foot space. I barely even can get my feet underneath of that seat. But overall, it's definitely a comfortable place to be. These seats are still about the same as that. They're not the softest, but they've got some decent cushioning to them. Now, the center does not really have a big hump in the middle, so if I move over here to the middle, I can sit up tall without my head touching. I've got plenty of room on both sides in the middle. It's just that my knees are a little bit higher. But once you do get to the middle, this center console here does give you 2 AC vents plus a 12-volt power outlet. It would be nice to see another USB port back here, but we do not get one. Over on the door is pretty much the same material as the front. We kind of have a semi-soft armrest. It's more of a rubbery material, and then up on the upper arm, plus basically the same 2 bottle holder setup down below. Then as we look in the middle, we do have a center folding armrest that does have 2 cup holders. It is nice and soft as well, and it does fall all the way down to the seat. I'd like to see it sit up a little bit, but it's nice to have one. I want to show you guys how these seats work. So first of all, we do have adjustable headrests, which I did not mention when I was sitting in here. But we do have split folding seats. You can lift that up for a flat surface right there, and then obviously a little bit lower where your feet go, but that's definitely convenient, and you can do that on both sides. If you do have the double cab, there will be a little storage nook underneath of the seat. All right, everybody, we are finally on the test drive portion, my favorite part. So talking about this powertrain first, we get the 5.7 liter V8 from Toyota that puts out 381 horsepower and 401 pound-feet of torque. That's paired with a 6-speed automatic, and for miles per gallon, that will give us, with this 4x4 model, 13 city, 17 highway, and on a 2-wheel drive model, you'll get up to 18 on the highway, still 13 in the city. Now, talking about towing with this truck, numbers are all over the place. I'll put a chart down below, but with this model as equipped, 8,800 pounds. But the Tundra can go up to 10,200 pounds. So let's get out on the road here and see what this 5.7 has. A very healthy V8 is something I always appreciate. It sounds pretty good too. Even though this thing will just drink gas, it's a simple powertrain. It's a 6-speed automatic transmission that really has not had any problems, known problems. This V8 has been pretty reliable, so it's one thing you get at the sacrifice of miles per gallon. Acceleration is definitely good and plentiful. There's no question of the power in this truck, and over 400 pound-feet of torque. It's plenty capable. I would just like to see those towing numbers be a little better, and especially the payload numbers. Now, in terms of ride quality, it is a little bit bouncy. We do have the off-road or the trail tune suspension with this off-road package, so that does feel a little different than that SR5 that I drove, but it's still a comfortable ride. It's not something that's really gonna make you uncomfortable and bounce you to death in here, and I could definitely live with this. It is not, however, as smooth as some of the other competitors. For example, the Silverado I was just in was smoother than this. Even though it's not dramatic, you do feel different in that truck. Now I'm on a bit of a louder, rougher textured road, and I'm sure you can hear some of the road noise. This is not as quiet as the Silverado that I was in. That was very quiet, but this isn't loud either. I will put the decibel numbers on the screen down below at 70 miles an hour on the interstate, but when you get up fast enough, you can hear a little bit of wind noise coming through these windows or the seals, and the road noise is there, although it's not that bad. Now that we're up to speed, let's get on it. And that beep that you hear right there, that's the lane departure alert. It's not the actual assist where it will steer you back in the lanes, but it'll alert you and flash on the screen if you get out of your line, and you can turn that off or turn it on. The handling on this truck really surprised me. For being a big truck, the steering is actually really light and really easy. Maneuvering in parking lots is a lot easier than you would expect. It's not super direct, but because it is light, it's certainly not bad to maneuver around. It definitely does not feel as big as it is when you are trying to turn the wheel. And as for braking, it'll get you slowed down. It's not quite as good as I would have hoped, considering we have all 4 ventilated disc brakes and really big front brakes, but the braking is adequate. I would like to see that be a little bit better though. Like I said, It's more of a simple powertrain, which I personally prefer. I mean, some of you want some updated trucks and the latest gadgets, you know, the active fuel management or the cylinder deactivation that like Chevy has for MPGs, and I got pretty good miles per gallon with that actually, which was really nice. But if you're willing to sacrifice the miles per gallon for a truck that has been reliable, it can still do quite a bit for work. It doesn't tow quite as well, but you can use it like a truck. It's big and spacious in here. It is comfortable. It's really not that hard to drive around. You can get a long box if you need it, or a double cab if you need it. And I think Toyota can still meet a lot of people's needs with this, even if it's not quite as nice in some areas as the others. Now I'm on my way to some gravel, and I'm kind of on a rougher road right here. There's a lot of pieces of pavement missing and some patched up rough spots, and kind of give you an idea of what this cabin's like on a rough road. I think the suspension is it really kind of wants to be on something like this. It feels really composed. There's no rattles or anything in here, which is nice, and everything is pretty well dampened. Now we're on some gravel, and I like to come out here just to kind of get a feel for what it's like on some real rough stuff. And obviously this isn't real rough, but some washboards, some bumps. Definitely very smooth, honestly. It feels better on this than it does on the pavement. Can feel the back end slip out a little bit, even with the limited slip differential. It'll kick in, it'll kind of break the power traction wheel. Everything really feels pretty good and pretty solid in here. So I don't have an ORV park to go to, but I did get a little bit muddy. Take a look at this next minute here, and keep in mind traction control is on. If you like it, if you want some more off-road stuff, please let me know. The Tundra's traction control is pretty aggressive, so it definitely slowed me down going through some of the muddy areas, but with it off, you can definitely just get through, no problems. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I'm sorry I can't really go off-roading like Dave does on some of his ORV parks, but I want to thank Everyman Driver Nation for tuning in. My name is Nolan.Merrill from the Prime Autotainment YouTube channel. The link will be below in the description, so please be sure to check that out. I appreciate y'all for watching. Leave your thoughts down below. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I'll see you next time.